make them with the intent of either, yeah, it probably will be public, but it might not be, or it probably won't be public, but maybe if it's really awesome, I'll make it public. This one, I truly don't know. I was laying in bed this morning with thoughts on my Schrodinger tumors and how, if they are there, one of the things that I'm not currently doing that I plan on doing and probably should do anyway is speak my truth more. There are still a few things that I haven't done videos on that I've been holding back. 3 main ones, one of which I won't be touching with a 10-foot pole because of the current climate and my video removal last week. But the other 2 being racism and wokeness in general, and transphobia. So I guess it's really just one big one. And that's what this video is kind of talking about. Then I started scrolling through Facebook and I got to Neurodivergent Rebel's page, which I really like. I really want to do a solution raising with Lyric and other autistic adults who have, hopefully some of others who have been through ABA, because I know they haven't and I haven't. But on ABA, I want to do it on what could the actual adult autistic people offer families that could fill that role without it filling the role. Like, how could we offer support and help and actual solutions that aren't just stop doing what you're doing, but here's what to do instead, and have it be more, anyway, to do a solution raising with autistic influencers about how can we help children with autism when we're not their parents. But that being said, their page is very woke, and I get why. I'm very much that way, especially with my autism, of like, this is the rule, so therefore it's what you have to do. Like when I first started attending the school I did, where we talked about pronouns and did the land acknowledgement every time, it was like that needed to happen at the beginning of every conversation, because it's what you ought to happen. And only now, thinking about it and being more of in a global society, I'm like, well, land acknowledgement doesn't really make sense when you're doing it globally. And pronouns, like, why are we talking about pronouns and not all of the other accommodations and everything else that is relevant to our lives? Why this one thing? But those are their own videos. I'll go more into those ones. Let's just get into the trouble and not the explanation or anything. So they do a lot of posts of like, if there's any transphobia, if there's any racism, you'll be removed. And I haven't seen it, so I don't know what that bar is to get removed. But this is part of the problem, is like, what does it mean to be transphobic? What does it mean to be racist? I know the very black and white over the top ones that are obvious, but the microaggressions, should they get you banned when they're microaggressions? The person experiencing the microaggressions has experienced so much that it's like they need safe spaces. They need spaces where they're not going to have to encounter that, where they're not going to have to do the emotional work and the spiritual work of having to encounter that constantly. And Lyric gets to create whatever they want on their page for their them and their fans' mental space. So they don't need to uphold freedom of speech. But woke culture in general, where like everyone should be removed if they have microaggressions, everyone should be removed even for actual very clear, cut and dry racism and transphobia and homophobia, is doing to them what they are doing to us. And I wouldn't have so much of a problem with that if it was actually having the impact that the woke left wanted it to have, but it's having the opposite impact. It creates more division. We're not getting, like, the people are digging in their heels deeper to become more racist, more homophobic, more transphobic, trans people having more violence committed against them, people of different races having more violence committed against them, not less. So this is the post that they posted, which is someone else's post from 2019. It says, so many folks talk about how they are being forced to accept things that go against their beliefs. They're not being forced to accept them. If you have a problem with people of color, with gay marriage, with trans people, with immigrants, with women of any race, etc., then you're still welcome to feel however you want to feel about these people. You're just not allowed to make their lives harder because of your feelings. You're not allowed to turn their daily lives into a battleground. No one is forcing you to accept a single thing. You're just not allowed to terrorize people. I agree with all of that. That it's the action, not the thought and feeling, that needs to be policed. The thought and feeling can lead to actions, especially other people's actions. But there's this, like, if you have this thought and you express it, we should thought police you and think you're going to maybe commit actions, you're going to invoke other people to commit actions and treat you accordingly. But the post they did, like the blurb they did on top of it, says, if you have a problem with it, I will remove you from this page. And that is the issue, is like, then that is forcing people to accept it. If you're going to remove them, if they can't toe the line exactly as you think it should be towed, that is forcing them. And Lyric is a very strong proponent that ABA is torture. I agree. I think ABA is conversion therapy for autistics. It's like how to make you appear that, let you put on conversion therapy is putting on a mask that you're straight in the world so you can be treated lovingly by your family and community. And it doesn't work, and it causes suicide and mental illness, and it's just bad. We know that. That's why it's outlawed most places. ABA is the same for autistic children, how to get them to behave in a neurotypical way. And it's done with long, grueling hours and making them cut off the pieces of themselves to fit into society, shaping them into a puzzle piece that will fit. And so aptly logo, Autism Speaks, that if we force people to not express their true thoughts and feelings, how are they meant to grow and learn? And if the average of society, our average wokeness, everyone below it, we just shame doesn't help them rise. Shame doesn't help them see that their racism has errors, that their transphobia has errors. Just saying, no, we don't talk about that. Any question about sex and gender, any pointing out of anything is transphobic. Any pointing out of anything that could be considered, well, wait, what? Maybe there are statistics that point out some of the beliefs that are, well, why are those statistics there? If we can't even talk about it, if we can't talk about those. And at the same time, I realize that all social media platforms are designed for drama and for dopamine hits. They aren't designed to actually tackle any of the deep issues. They're not designed to actually look at our deep-seated racism and make it better. Yet it makes money by having us feel superior because we're less racist than the other people and then ostracizing them, instead of looking at where do I still have subconscious beliefs and where can I do it. And that's where this 8 minutes in, celebrating our own unique journey instead of needing people to be at a certain place, understanding out of the tapestry of infinite possibilities of how woke you are on any given topic, including ones that the wokest woke haven't even thought of, haven't even sparked of an idea yet. There are people all over that landscape, people who've never encountered it, people have thought deeply about it and transgressed further into the past, people have deeply thought about it and had the pre-trans fallacy happen, where once you think beyond what the middle thinks, anyway, we're not going to explain the pre-trans fallacy on that. Go look that up. It's an integral concept. If we can celebrate our own unique journey, and wherever you are, there's nothing wrong with it. However, this is going to be controversial, racist, transphobic, homophobic, ableist you are, it was where you're starting. To not be able to acknowledge it, to not be able to have a safe space for you to explore your thoughts and feelings that isn't broadcasting on a soapbox, which isn't inflicting it on the people that could be hurt by it. But if you have to hold it inside and suppress it everywhere, all of the time, you are being forced to accept it, which means, and you're not being benefited by that. You're not having your growth. If anything, it's making you dig deeper. And society isn't getting your growth, isn't actually seeing less and less racism. We're seeing more division, more violence, less freedom of speech. And I can see where that's leading. I myself am looking to be less and less racist, have less ableism, less transphobia, less homophobia, because I know that I live in a society that is all of those things. And even if I am way less than the average population, even if I'm in the top 1%, I still have more to learn and more to grow and more subconscious to dig out. And I am part of many of those groups that are ostracized, that have actual violence committed against them. And yet, if I want less violence, fighting against it in the way we currently are is having the opposite impact. And so I hope that I don't get kicked off of, oh, I didn't even read what I wrote them, which I will end this with. And I hope I don't get kicked off of their page because I do really like them. But it's more important that I speak my truth, both just for celebrating my own unique journey, but also there's something about this Schrodinger's tumors that's like, yeah, you're listening to your higher power, but are you truly speaking from your voice and dealing with all of the chakras? So I put, love your page, so I hope I will not be removed. Telling people they will be removed for having a thought or emotion and then telling them they are not being forced is force. A punishment, removal, for not feeling or thinking the way you do is force. If ABA is torture, how must it feel to have thoughts and feelings that are behind the times, but constantly be made to conform or be shamed? How can people grow and learn if they can't share what they think and feel and allow their own path to growth? We make bigotry stronger by fighting it in this way. So I'm hoping we can create a culture, a small seed of a culture that can grow. And I'm going to start it with me, which is why I need to start speaking my absolute truth of your truth is allowed. Your current understanding of things is allowed. Your current emotional capacity on things is allowed. And from that space, there can be ultimate growth. From allowing and surrendering to what is, we can get the most growth from ourselves and therefore from each other. Thank you.